Welcome to Political Jeopardy. This is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by Mike Jones.
Hello, Dale.
And our returning champion from the past, Sandy Casanelli.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right. Now we're going to go straight in because this is an action-packed show. We're going to start off with Political Jeopardy right away. Go ahead, Mike. All right, here's the board and the category. What happened to it? It's supposed to pause there at that moment.
Hang on a second. There it is.
Mike?
Yeah.
Why don't we start over again?
Dale, you know what? This is going to be very, very hard to get perfectly because, by the way, at 9 seconds, here, let's just see what this does here. As you're going, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I can pause it at that, I will.
Cool.
All right. You want to start over?
Sure.
Okay.
We're going to leave plenty of black here for you, or plenty of, place to cut. No problem. Okay. No more stopping.
Okay.
All right. Stand by, everybody. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Political Jeopardy. I'm Dale Trebek, and on today's show, we have Mike Jones and returning champion Sandy Casanelli. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, Dale. How's it going?
Hey, there's plenty on today's show. We're going to go straight into Political Jeopardy. Go ahead, Mike. Okay, the categories for today are good guys, staph infection, big failures, big successes, sigh of relief, and goodbye to you.
Uh-huh.
So, Mike, why don't you go ahead and pick the first category?
I'll take good guys for 20, Dale.
Okay, here we go. And the answer is
$20, yes.
Nate Gowieran. Okay, both of you. Nate Gowieran. Who is this?
I know that he has something to do with criminal justice, and I'm familiar with some of the programs he does. I don't know his title specifically. What about you, Sandy?
No, I'm clueless. He might be a new guy, so I haven't been paying attention to that. So, Dale, can you inform us?
Yes, Nate Gowieran is one of the newest people that works for the county. I often use him as an example because I don't want to say everybody is bad that works for the county. It's simply not true. He's a pretty good guy, and he's honest so far, and he would like to have a bigger budget, but he's not pushing it on everybody. Okay, go to the next one, Mike.
Love it.
Okay. And now we have good guys for $40.
Okay, good guys for 40, and the answer is
eventually $40.
40,000.
Donna Anderson.
Well,
clue, guys.
Yeah, hang on a second. There's a sound for that here. Let's see here. Yes.
Right. Donna Anderson, she works for the city. She's one of those good people that works for the city that is happy to answer your questions. She's happy. She works for the city and she's happy to answer your questions. She's very helpful. She was trying to get us good video of the city council meetings. And she was just thwarted by David Reeves, who didn't want us to have good video of the city council meetings. Gee, I wonder why. So we need to say good things about good people.
Well, Sandy, you and I are flunking out here so far.
Oh, you'll do much better later. Okay, The next one under good guys is good guys for 60, Mike would say.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
And the answer is Scott Chansey. Come on, you guys.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
something about Scott Chansey. Isn't he? I don't know the exact title, but the transit director.
Yep.
Yeah, a pretty good guy. We took a ride with him on the bus here way back. I think it was before we were even doing this show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was, right.
Yeah. And at the very first run of the bus, of the what is it, the I forget what they call the transit line that goes over there to Medford
I
from
think it's
here.
called the transit line.
Yes, it is something transit line, but it's what a fantastic deal that is. You get on the bus in Cave Junction for $2, come to Grants Pass, and then get on this, this transit line, inter county transit line thing, and you can go to Medford for $2.
And the best part of it all is, at a time when, not making this up, $64,000 for each fare box in Jackson County. $64,000 is made out of solid gold, and at a time when the Grants Pass City Council is spending well over $100,000 for one bus stop. Scott Chansey says, I think we can get it for a lot less, and there were 3 ways to do it, and I picked the cheapest, most efficient. In county government, that's fantastic.
Yeah. He's really hardworking. He's a smart guy. He's always interested in benefits to the public. Model employee. I'm telling you, there's just nobody better than Scott Chansey.
We're starting with the good guys because this is a show on Thanksgiving. Next good guys one. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
Good guys for 80.
Good. Oh, there you go.
Nice.
She knows how this works now, and now we just have to wait for it to come. Okay, there's $80.
80,000.
Right.
Trisha Myers.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. I love this woman with all, you go into the clerk's office in Josephine County, and she's helpful, and she's bright, and she's competent. Can't say enough about Trish Myers. I'm glad. I hope she gets elected in January to replace Art Harvey, and I hope the commissioners are smart enough to appoint her as the interim between now and the time that hopefully she gets sworn in.
Now, in setting up this board, I had to make one of them $100,000. And I thought, boy, should it be Trisha Myers? Because that's such an important position. We can now then depend on the elections being run on the straight and narrow, honestly, not breaking any state laws. But instead, I chose somebody else for the most influential about public relations with the public of all of them. Mike? Back to the board. Good guys for 100, and the answer is
Wendy Gwynn.
Wendy Gwynn. Who is Wendy Gwynn?
Oh, well, she's one of the ladies that works in the commissioner's office, and from what I've seen, she's very competent and capable also, and I'm not going to mention the other one who's in there.
Hey, we're talking about good. We're talking about good guys.
And being thankful, we're not talking about the bitter pill that works with her.
Yeah, that would be like an extra credit question or something.
She will end up being in charge of the office staff, and it's nice to know that when you go into the commissioner's office, you may not have good commissioners to talk to. They may invite you into their office, then yell at you, which has happened, not to me, to others. I'm not going to go into their office. But Wendy Gwynn is always nice, always helpful. She is, I think, the perfect example of a public servant. Really, kudos to Wendy Gwynn. And the best part about these 5 people is that it gives us a chance on this show called Bad County on this show to say something good about people. There are good people, and just if everybody was like that, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Now,
These
but the next,
human beings.
go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
she's done.
Thank you. So, but the next category kind of negates a little bit of that. The next category is called
Staph infection.
Oh,
right. Staph
great
infection.
name.
Staph infection for 20, Dale.
I can't see the board at all. Oh, there it is. Staph infection for 20. Okay. The first one, the least infectious,
Least
J.J.
infectious?
Schofield.
I don't know about least infectious.
Oh,
But,
there's some pretty bad ones. That's why.
Yeah. Well, listen, the one thing that sticks in my mind here about J.J. Schofield is the very
The HR
recent.
director.
Yes, he's the HR director, and he was out pushing for the levy on Facebook. And after the levy failed, he went on there and was railing the county residents for being stupid.
Oh, God.
Yeah, which apparently is epidemic in local government here to blame the citizens and call them stupid and condescend to them and all that.
Well, we can't be that condescending and stupid, because we used to go to all the weekly business sessions when J.J. Schofield would present new hires, and we're saying, how come you're hiring mid-range? How come you're giving the VSO officer a 5-grade pay raise and everything? So guess what? J.J. Schofield and the commissioners decided that no longer would they get new hires and promotions before the weekly business sessions to the public. Oh, no, just an approval of one liaison commissioner and J.J. Schofield gets you hired in Josephine County now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
This is the guy that sat in on the meeting where the commissioners were talking about establishing where we had videotape of them saying a number of things, and he said, well, that's not on the videotape. So he's one of the deniers. It's
Nice.
obviously on the videotape. Next one. There's a lot more to say about each one.
Are we keeping track of who's getting the money, and when can we expect a check after the show?
Oh, yeah, that'll be coming straight from the county commissioners. It's in the mail.
Yes. Okay. Well, wow. I can't imagine why they wouldn't pay us for this. They're willing to pay almost anybody for anything else.
That's true.
Anyway, back to the board. $40. Larry Graves.
Staph infection.
Yes.
Well, he's the new airport manager, and he did couple of kind of fine things. He got fuel at the Ivy Airport, and he got the puddle situation fixed at the Grants Pass Airport. But he's done some pretty horrible things recently, and one of them was the big brouhaha over having the drone project at the Ivy Airport. Very, very bad. It was a bunch of, in my opinion, good old boys that squeezed the county, and it was a horrific contract that essentially gave away half the airport over at the Ivy Airport to these cronies.
And another thing that he was involved with, which personally bothers me, no matter how good somebody might be or bad, he, when one of the people at the Grants Pass Airport came in and said, it's in my contract that I can negotiate the contract, and you're charging me too much for this new space. So I'm going to F you, F this, F that, hey. So that guy came to a weekly business session. I helped out saying, that's not the right way to treat people. And then the guy did it again. And so I described him as kind of like a big vat of vanilla ice cream with a fudge swirl in the middle, but it's not fudge. So do you really want to take a big bite?
I don't know what it is about these airport managers. Maybe they don't have enough oversight from the county, but they think that they can wheel and deal and that the airports are theirs. It's not their airport. And I think having a little bit more scrutiny over our airport managers would do a lot to prevent a lot of the nonsense that's going on.
Okay, the next one in staff, sorry to move along so quickly. The next one in staff infections is 60. The answer is David Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
You have to drop your voice whenever you say that. David Reeves.
Yes. Who is the poisonous personality there at the city? Who? At what he says? Is he the city manager?
He's assistant city manager. And a couple of stories about him. They were talking about having a field in order to play soccer, and there were supposedly some poisons under the surface, and so they were going to test. There was like 5 different places, if I remember correctly, where they were going to test. They tested 1 or 2 of them, and then decided to stop testing. And I was at that meeting, and they're an equivalent of a little back room, and I said, "What about the others? You know, are you going to say you've tested 2 and it's okay?" He said, "Well, where's your tests? Where's my tests? What kind of attitude is this?" Let's tell them a little bit about what's happened with the videos, Mike.
Well, it was interesting because Dale went in there. Who's the gal that you spoke to at the counter there?
Donna Anderson, one of the good people.
Right. She was going to work with you and
she
provide.
Yeah.
Right. And provide video for you that we could then, edit or whatever. And
share with the public. Yeah.
Right. And she was doing that. And as soon as David Reeves found out that she was doing that, he put the kibosh on it.
So hardly any good videos anymore. Next one on the board. We're moving quickly. That would be staph infection for 80. The answer is
Lisa Shipley.
Lisa Shipley. Okay. Take it away, everybody.
Yes. And no better contestant for this one than Sandy.
Absolutely, man. I'm telling you, in my opinion, Lisa Shipley should not be our veteran service officer. Recently, she got a 5-grade pay raise. That's not 5 steps along her little, tier. That's a 5-grade pay raise. And she, in my opinion, does not deserve it. At the end of this pay grade, she will be making almost as much as a commissioner who manages like $100 million budget. She manages about, I think it's like $213,000. She's got 3 little programs that she manages. But something, she's only open to the public 1 day a week on Mondays. And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are by appointment only. Try to get in there during those times. And on Friday, she's closed.
But Mike, tell us the big thing that happened with Sandy, that Sandy is leading up to, the big thing that Lisa Shipley did to the veterans during a levy time.
Oh, well, she went around and was telling them, she went around to nursing homes and wherever these people were and whoever was coming into the office and telling them that if they enjoyed the services that they were getting from the Veteran Service Office, that they should vote for the levy, because you never know if they didn't vote for the levy and the levy didn't pass, perhaps those services would go away.
The levy did not pass, and what happened to the Veteran Service Office?
It closed and went away.
No, it didn't. So she betrayed those veterans, and she got a big raise. Okay, but there's no connection because Simon here can't connect those dots.
Okay.
All right, next one. Staph infection for 100, and the answer is
Mark Bartholomew.
Who is Mark Bartholomew?
Oh.
That's the city's attorney.
Yep.
And he just recently argued against Dale in court because there was a few citizens took the city to court on wasn't it the
ballot
ballot title language
for the sales tax.
right,
yeah.
Exactly. And
What were his
and
two
Mark,
conclusions? The two conclusions that he came, the victories that he achieved in the courtroom were, number one,
yes.
what was
There's no such
permanent?
thing as a permanent tax. That was number one. And the other one was that the city can impose the sales tax on the citizens at any time without a vote of the people.
Bingo. Yep. Absolutely unconscionable.
So I win $100.
Right, 100,000. The reason I put him on top is because he could do the most,
wow.
yeah, the most lasting damage to the citizens of Grants Pass and the rest of the county, because he's out there bragging about the fact that the city, for example, can put a tax on people without even their permission, and there was no need for the thing on the ballot in the first place. Even more than the others.
Yeah, he said that it would be more expedient. You know, it would be difficult to do so if the council put the sales tax on the ballot. You know, so he basically this voting for the sales tax was for expedience. They didn't want to use up any political capital because if it went down in flames, which it did, they would be left holding the bag.
Mm.
Still are. Okay.
You know, this would be a great show for people who really just need to get up to speed with what's going on in local politics. There.
Yes, one hopes so. Okay, the next category is big failures.
Oh,
big failures for 20. And the answer is manor development.
Yep.
This is what the commissioners need to do and be nicer to everybody?
Ivy Airport. Oh, what? I missed it.
Oh, this is what the commissioners need to do is develop their manners? No.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yes.
No, this is the big fiasco at the Ivy Airport that they tried to railroad, you know, with, it was Jim Frick and Larry Osborne. It was basically these people who contributed heavily to Simon Hare's campaign for re-election. And it was just, they were going to give something like, I don't know, it was like $12 million. They were going to pay $12 million, but they were going to get like $8 million in credits back for building infrastructure. And they had this grand and glorious plan for having this drone production. It was, doomed to failure because it was so grandiose. It wasn't funny. And the people involved have a history of not, producing what they normally say that they're going to do. So It was a big fiasco.
But wait a minute, I thought Larry vetted them.
Vetted them, yeah. He said he did. Yeah, right. We all got up at that meeting when they issued that contract, and we said, look, have you looked into these parent companies and, who are they going to subcontract to and everything? Oh, no, everything's fine, completely vetted by Larry Graves. Yeah, they didn't pay the county one single damn dime. I don't believe. They couldn't even make the first payment for the rent. So it was a fiasco.
The citizens did try to warn them, but they wouldn't listen to us once again.
No,
okay. Big failures for $40,000.
40,000. I'm missing the thousand thing.
Yeah, there
behind
was
this.
a room in there for 40.
I'm gonna have to step it up a little.
North Valley Industrial Park.
You said Road Valley?
North Valley Industrial Park.
North Valley, yeah. Oh, yeah. But, this is another one of those big fiascos. It was tied closely to Paradise Ranch. They were going to come in and make this a place for, wealthy people to come and play golf. And then, they were going to, I guess, as Dale would say, black out the windows of the limos as they go to the Powderhorn to have a piece of pie. Because, wealthy people come in, the first thing they're going to ask for is, where's your 4-star restaurants and where's your 4-star hotels? And, unfortunately, maybe we could, direct them to Ashland. It was a big fiasco. This whole septic system for Merlin, the Merlin area. The county has put hundreds of thousands of dollars into this project, and it goes nowhere.
Well, it's a Cheryl Walker project, so need we say more?
Yeah, well.
And now Cheryl Walker has told the Infrastructure Finance Authority in the state, she did get them on the line with this by saying that the school district was on board, fully on board. Boy, that came as a surprise to the school district when I went to go tell them. What? Why would she say that? Because it was a lie, because they were not on board at all, and definitely not fully on board. But the IFA, I guess, gets evaluated by how much money they hand out, so that's still a deal that's going. Lovely. Watch for more on this subject. Okay, next one. Big failures for 60.
The 7 cheese pizza and arsenic water test, those are together?
Well, because they're just as disastrous. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, well,
what does 7 cheese pizza really mean?
Oh, Sandy, you take the 7 cheese pizza and I'll take the water, or vice versa.
I don't know what the 7 cheese pizza is.
Well, that was the 7 county IGA.
Oh, 7 county IGA. You know something? Boy, this is really amazing. I wish I knew this. I could put in my notes and then, tell people about this, but off the top of my head, I can't. No, sorry, I can't even remember what it was for.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't remember what the intergovernmental agreement was about either, but I do know that there was going to be perhaps people from other counties in our county doing inspections at people's places of business and things like this. It was about taxes and things like that. And the thing that I remember about it was, he has it billed here as a big failure, but it was a big success for the local citizens who showed up and put it down, who actually read the document, which ironically, Sandy was pretty well versed on this and came in, and she was one of the ones who made some compelling arguments that forced the board to turn around.
But there's so many of them to do. That's why she may not be able to remember every detail all the time. Tell us about the news that we just released yesterday, Mike, about the water testing.
Yeah, well, that was essentially Eric Schaafsma comes in because he has some testing that he thinks that he can sell the county on a large contract that for water testing for the next few years, and make some big money off of it. And it turns out that, my personal opinion, it was a little bit deceptive in that the sediment testing didn't really have a whole lot to do with what the quality of the water was going to be downstream from that. That's a personal opinion, so save your emails. And so ultimately, they were going to be on the hook for at least $130,000, at least in this first year, and in which they were going to test in a number of locations a couple of times during this year. Well, thankfully, we had a couple of citizens who got out ahead of this thing and thought, well, let's check and see if some of these toxins that they say are off the charts are really there. And so Vika Nikodian and Lori Johansson went down to the river, took a number of samples in a number of different places, which turned up 0 essentially on the arsenic. And so thankfully, they presented that to the board, and the board had really no choice but to cancel the contract, which they did the following day.
They immediately did it. And so this is another thing for which we can be thankful on Thanksgiving Day, is that 2 citizens, aided by us telling people about it, were able to get the information You'll expect to see later today, or by the time you're watching the show, because we recorded a little early, it's Thanksgiving, that'll be in the Courier. It's probably not going to be on the local TV stations, maybe nothing at KJO, but at the very least, you've got two outlets. We did last night and the night before, and the Courier will be covering that today. So there's another reason to feel a little bit grateful, as at least we have somebody at the Courier who's willing to report the news. That's nice. Let's be thankful for that. Okay, so next one. Big failures for 80.
Okay.
And the answer is Dimick Tower.
Yes.
Why is this listed as a failure? They did tear down the building.
Yes, that was a great success. Build is probably one of the greatest successes of their whole tenure there.
Yes.
Sure, but they couldn't count the floors correctly, and they were $100,000 overrun on the project.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Sandy. Yes.
Yes.
And what else? The one I always bring up. They didn't have any plan for what to do after they tore it down, so they tore down a building. I mean, that happens in some cities every day. But you're supposed to have something that you're going to do afterwards. They don't even have a plan for what they're going to do. Why'd they spend that money if they have no plan for what they're going to do?
Yeah, but it had to come down. It was racked with mold and everything else. I mean,
rats with mold. I hate rats with mold. Okay. Okay, next one. The worst one of all. For 100.
4 junk ordinances and 3 property taxes.
Oh, God.
Wow. And the thing is that, if you went and looked up the history, you could spend a fair amount of time on every property tax, that they've tried to foist on us.
Yeah. It's just really bad. These 4 junk ordinances were just an administrative nightmare. It was essentially gave the county way, way too much authority to dictate what we could and couldn't do on our private properties. And we tried to warn the commissioners, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and they went ahead and did it anyways. So the citizens came and said, no, we're not having this, and they gathered enough signatures to put it on a initiative petition so that we could get it overturned, and it was overturned by a phenomenal amount. I think it was like 80%.
And they did not want to have a voter's pamphlet, and Cheryl Walker was fighting against the idea of a voter's pamphlet. Do you remember what she said about that, Mike? About the voter's pamphlet?
Oh, yeah, that she's meeting up with people in the grocery store that are just flagging her down and saying, oh, please don't have a voter's pamphlet.
Stupid.
And that if the people got a voter's pamphlet, do you realize what would happen? Why, they just put in counter arguments in there. Oh, can't have that in a voter's pamphlet.
Yes.
Insane.
So Big Bad
And the
Sandy
property tax
Casanelli comes in with enough cash to way overdo it for a voter's pamphlet, and they were embarrassed and then finally ended up with a voter's pamphlet. Tell us, everybody, about the other one. That was the 4 junk ordinances. What about the 3 during their tenure, during the current commissioner's tenure, 3 property taxes? But Mike, they weren't involved at all.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's been a levy here that I've been aware of that they didn't have some participation in. SOS and cuffs, they're basically just local government surrogates anyway. So they could say that they personally didn't have anything to do with it, but it was all being pushed forth by local government employees that want the levy. But this is the great thing to understand about this. They do not want a levy to promote public safety. They want a levy so that they can filter off a little bit more money for each one of their departments. That's what this whole thing is about.
10% skimmed off the top.
Right.
And don't forget that
too about it is that these levies, they would not have gone for increased services to the public, like rural patrols and stuff like that. it was just, in my opinion, to like shore up the department's budget.
Well, and the evidence that that is true, Sandy, is this whole situation with road dollars and funding rural patrols, and their refusal to do it, even though the money was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know that if they did have this money, they'd find because they know that people's attention is no longer on this stuff once the election is over with. So once it's done and everybody has gone back to sleep, then they just spend the money however they want to.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, I agree.
Dale's muted and he thinks he's talking to us, but he's not.
Okay, and then Keith Eck thinks that all he needs to do is shake his finger at people. Why you look doubtful when I tell you that we had nothing to do with it, except they've seen the video where Keith Eck was the one that was kicking it off in the beginning with Jim Goodwin, who works for the county and is a city councilor. Nice. Okay, so get your daily double button ready there, Mike.
Oh, okay, let's see.
Big successes. And the answer is there are no big successes.
Oh,
that's
funny, and it's a picture of a turkey, just so you know there, Sandy.
Oh, geez.
That's funny.
So funny.
Okay, that's the end of that category. Big successes is now.
Oh, really? That was it on that entire category. That's funny. Okay, so the next category is scythe of relief.
Sigh of relief, yes. Sigh of relief for 20. These are people that have been cut.
Jim Riddle and Don
Reedy. Take it away, Sandy.
Oh man, where do I start? I know.
Jim Riddle on the radio. Jim Riddle on the radio.
Yeah. Well, there was some evidence that I had that Jim Riddle had made a false statement, and he says, "Well, you know, I have that stack of information regarding the PEG account." And he says, "Well, I have that stack of information on my desk. You haven't bothered to come pick it up." And so I called him and I said, "Hey, look, I'd like to pick up that information." He goes, "Well, I really don't have it. I suppose I could look it up for you." And he left that message on my recorder. And so, you know, we went to people like K-Joe, Carl Wilson. Do you want to hear, you know, Jim Riddle and the big fat whopping lie that he told on K-Joe? Oh, no, they didn't want to play that. They didn't want to reveal that. This PEG account nonsense has been going on for years, and they have been raping that account. It's supposed to be dedicated money. There's no such thing in Josephine County as dedicated money, because the PEG account went to re-roof the Ann Basker. It went for coffee pot for the Ann Basker. It went for ongoing services to RVTV when it's supposed to be only for equipment, video
public
equipment.
Access. Public access. For example, for TV, for the kids at the schools to put their little programs on, or their sports stuff on cable TV. Well, it's not going for that. Now, tell us about Don Reedy and what happened with Don Reedy the day after he got in office. Do you remember?
No, what was that?
The day after Don Reedy got in office.
I think I know this one. I think I know this. Can I answer this one?
Yeah, please do.
Because I need $20,000 right about now. You know, this is property tax season here.
Yeah.
I believe that while he was running for office, of course, he's very nice and accommodating to the public and all this kind of stuff. But as soon as he got elected, he said, and I only recall this because Dale has told me this a number of times. He said, "It's none of your business what the commissioners do."
Right. And he was going to be the perfect example of transparency. This guy was tossed out like a used Kleenex. Our research shows that he got the least amount of votes as an incumbent in the history of Josephine County. That's his legacy.
Well, I'm hoping that Cheryl steals the title from him in this next election. I think it's really possible because she's very unpopular.
Okay, next one under this category is the sigh of relief. We're glad that they've been cut. John Harrelson, Sandy Casanelli.
Yeah, other commissioners, previous boards have, said, John, just stay in the basement, would you please? He was really sort of off,
Sort of off. He was a loon. I don't mind saying so. He was a loon. He would stand in front of our camera at county commissioners meeting, stand right in front of our camera. And I said, John, you're standing in front of the camera. So what are you going to do about it?
This is the guy who told Paul Walter that he had Paul's picture in his office on the wall beneath plastic.
Yes.
Under plastic. Yes. This was the guy that was using the county's website as his personal political site for getting reelected. Really?
Yeah.
This guy had real big problems. My best recollection of him is he was peeking in the windows of my car to try to get any information he could about how I keep my car. But my favorite one was John Harrelson running down the middle of the street. I'm not making this up. I'm putting up a sign. And he's running down the middle of the street from the county courthouse, and he's got his hands in his air, and his hair is flying all over the place. What are you doing? What are you doing? John, go back to work. What are you doing? Well, you can put a sign here. Well, I have permission. Well, and then he goes in and he's yelling at the store owner. This guy was some kind of piece of work, buddy.
The very first time I met John Harrelson, I was asking the commissioners for an accounting of the PEG funds. And I was sitting on the steps in front of the ambassador, and he came up to me. And he looked down at me. He goes, "Why would we give any information to the likes of you?"
Jeez,
this is our county.
Was my first. Yeah.
You know what? Regardless what a county official thinks of you, they should never refer to you in that way, ever.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with Larry Graves.
One of the ones
doing it already still.
Illegal press conference. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so next one, under sigh of relief, because we're glad to see them gone. We're thankful that they're gone. Sigh of relief for 60, and the answer is Dave Toller.
Speaking of crazy.
Oh, brother. He's
this
in
guy
the
just
middle.
looks crazy.
He was at, now this is a fellow. Talking about the camera, Dave, when I'd come in to videotape their meetings in the little back room, Dave would invite people to stand in front of the camera.
Nice.
That's really nuts.
This is the commissioner. This is the commissioner who got 4 other elected officials, gingered them up, the former Sheriff Phil Gilbertson, too, to have an illegal press conference in the commissioner's little back room, the conference room, during the time that people were voting on their ballots, and holds up a full-page newspaper ad of Jack Allen Brown and I saying, "Don't vote for these people. They're deceiving the public." This is totally illegal. An illegal press conference, and they all of them said, to the state, no measures were mentioned, and no individual people were named. And Dale has a picture of Dave Toller holding up,
newspaper,
our newspaper.
He said he never did that. He said he never held up a newspaper. Okay, the other thing is, I got in a lot of trouble with the Democrats about this because I used to be a Democrat. Now I'm independent, as is Mike. We are not part of any political party. And I went to one of their meetings, and they said, but he always votes for environmental issues. I said, no, he doesn't. Have you ever actually looked at the record? It's like saying Casanoli. Well, you look back and it's 90% yes votes. So why is she Noli? So I said, he doesn't do that. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He tells us that he does. I said, what if you just go look? In fact, here's a video. Well, so what if there's video? So they had him. They still think that. They still hate me for this. It doesn't make any sense because he was not doing that. And I said, the proof is he usually votes along with the current chair of the board, Dwight Ellis. Yeah, well, that guy's not environmental at all. I said, but he usually votes with him. So if they're marching in lockstep, how can he be an environmentalist? It doesn't make any sense. So you can't help him.
Dave Toller was the one that brought the county the canola fiasco.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
This show could just be about Dave Toller. He's in the middle of this list of people that we're happy to say goodbye to. We're thankful for. Okay, so sigh of relief for 80. The answer is another kind of sigh.
$80. Rosemary Paget.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I tried, when I was in office, every single year, I tried to get one other commissioner to say her job was irrelevant, and I couldn't get them to do that. However, Rosemary Paget was the one who did the research that eliminated Rich Halliday's position, who was head of facilities at the time. And she says, see, look, this is a 6-month midterm budget review, and he's over by such and such a percentage of his budget. And I says, Rosemary, look on that page. I says, your department is over budget more than Rich Halliday's. She goes, well, we can review my position in a couple of weeks. Well, yeah. Do you think she'd ever bring up that review in a couple of weeks? No.
Okay, so Mike knows this story because I told him about it, that when Sandy and Jack Allen Brown and I were tasked by the commissioners, because she brought it up and they said yes, to go look at Rob Brandis and the county fleet to see what was happening out there. Rob had been changing, he admitted to it, changing the tags on the cars. People have heard this story before. So when we came back, Dave Toller made a big deal about how this cost the county $10,000 to refute the report. And so I kept saying, well, where's your proof of that? Where's your proof of that? Week after week after week. Finally, Rosemary Paget walks in. She says, well, I've got the proof. Look, it's all $10,000, and it magically equaled exactly $10,000. And I'm looking at the report and going, wait a minute. It says here that Sandy Casanelli, that her research to refute her own report was responsible for a huge part of this. How would she be involved with refuting her own report that would cost the county money? No answers to that. This is Rosemary Paget.
Yeah. And she says, oh, no, I didn't say that. Dale says, your signature is on this page.
Yeah.
She said, I have your picture under plastic.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Yeah. The thing is she's the one that told everybody that the commissioners told her not to keep track of the economic development money after we had loaned them out. She was told that she didn't have to do that.
Now, you know that I go to every meeting. Can you imagine me sitting in the little back room and Rosemary Paget saying, yes, I've been they're instructing her not to look into the spending of any of this money. Am I just going to sit there? Do you think I might say something? I might say something in the room when I'm not supposed to, but surely that video would, if they did tell her, they told her in secret, but I don't think anybody would tell her something so stupid. Don't look into it. Okay. And then the worst one of all. Sigh of relief because we're rid of
Jim Moore.
Okay, Jim Moore. Why did I put this? Because there's nobody, and I'm going to say my little bit there's nobody in the county that's been responsible for more covering up of details of what's going on in this county than Jim Moore of the Daily Courier. Take it away.
Yeah, just
Well,
by omission.
yes, yes. It's just really funny. He used to come to all these commissioner meetings, the weekly business sessions, and then Dale would go on his show, and he says, was Jim Moore even conscious while he was at the meeting? I mean, how could you miss this major news story and not print it up in the Courier? It's pretty pathetic. It really was.
In
Not good.
what city in America could a $100,000 cost overrun go unreported by Cajo, unreported in the Courier, because that's not news?
Yeah. Does it rise to the level of a story? Was that him, or was it the other one?
That was current city councilor Dennis Roller,
Oh, geez.
who used to be head of the newspaper there. Yeah, this was awful. Major news stories would just go right on by. There were even people in the newsroom that didn't know the news stories because he wasn't even telling them what was going on. Now that this guy is gone, sigh of relief. We should all be very relieved that we've got, okay, the guy is new. He's missing some of the details of the stories. He doesn't know some of the background, but at least he's a reporter. Jim Moore was dedicated to not covering the news, but covering up the news. And one of the main reasons badcounty.com even exists is that we weren't getting any news at all about most things having to do with the commissioners, except for the happy stories from the Daily Courier. That's the whole reason that this show exists. It's because of Jim Moore and Kevin Whittison, who still works at that newspaper. Okay, final category. This one is Goodbye to You. The Go-Go's would be happy with that one for 20.
Keith Heck.
Well, it's going to be goodbye to you at some point in the near future. Can anyone say anything about this guy in under 2 minutes? A whole show could be done about him. We have at least 500 videos about this guy. What's the latest goofy thing that this guy has done?
Oh, well, the very most recent is even after this evidence was presented about the water situation, he still voted to continue with that contract. Yeah. He should wear that one around his neck like a boat anchor. And I'll tell you, over the next year, there's going to be a ton of evidence because this other company is going to be testing the water every week and giving us the result of, whether or not there's, a ton of arsenic in the water.
And what did he say about you, Mike, and also about me, about video that we shot of a little backroom meeting? Highly edited.
Highly edited, yes. Dale will never give up on the little moles that sneak around thing. I thought it was kind of a dumb little mistake on the guy's part. And then instead of just going, well, God, that was really a dumb thing. I shouldn't have said it like that. Instead, he decides to say, well, that was highly edited. I never said that, etc. And then, of course, we, did the little forensic examination of the audio and all that kind of stuff. And
Sandy, do you remember the $5,000?
No, but the $5,000 for what?
Okay, so what I did was I went to a subsequent meeting because the mistake at the beginning, that's stupid. Okay, just don't say that kind of stuff. They do lesser services and they sneak around. Don't be saying that. So, but he decided to accuse us because maybe this will work. Oh, I'll just accuse them of putting words in my mouth and editing words into my mouth and adjusting the video to make it look like I said that. So what Mike did is he took the two different audio, the audio from our video that we had shot and the audio from the county. He forgot there was county audio. He forgot. And he put them together and they were an exact match. Better than this. They were like this. Exact match, right? And so I got up at a weekly business session. I said, I have $5,000 in cash, which I borrowed. And I'll be happy to give this to you right now. One of us is going to walk out of this room looking like a hero and the other is going to look like a big fat liar. And all you have to do is point out where one edit was. Any of these words. Little moles that sneak around. Any of those. Where was the edit? And he just kept his head down. How this guy can walk in the sunlight after making such an allegation and then being called on it in public and not being able to pick up 10 cents out of the $5,000? I don't know. This guy's got to go. Okay,
So
next one.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, you always say that these guys have imperial attitude. Well, this is the poster child for it, you know, the czars of Josephine County. This guy, you know, he's rude to the public. I mean, he called you a lion maggot and everything, and just he's not a nice guy in my
Well,
opinion.
in that lying maggot statement, that was made because we posted a video of what he said in the little back room. Okay, he said that the Pledge of Allegiance was kind of repetitive, and you don't really need to say it at every meeting, right? All we did was post the video. I didn't even make any comments. You didn't need to make any comments, and posting the video made me into a lying maggot.
Yeah, and you know, he wouldn't let you speak at the weekly business sessions because you reported something that happened, a decision made by the OGEC, that they were found to have violated the law, a preliminary finding of violation of the Oregon Revised Statute for going into executive session under matters from commissioners, which is, you know, just a cute little time for them to talk to among themselves behind the public's back. You know, this is really not appropriate. These guys are not following the law, and Keith is his mouth just gets him in trouble so much. And when you call him on this stuff, all he does is laugh. He's up there laughing like it's so funny to him that, you know, it's like a big game.
It's a mocking laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, speaking of laughing, so many times the next person said, well, Sandy Casanelli and Dale Matthews, why don't you just turn us into the State Ethics Commission? The answer for 40 is Simon Hare.
Simons would say that all the time. Well, if you think there's a violation, just, you know how to fill out an ethics complaint, just do it. Well, you know something, I got fed up with him telling me that, and I just did it.
Yes.
And then they got in trouble. Now, we had been putting in complaints about them for quite a while, actually, and this is the first time that it stuck. Don't forget also that Simon Hare was the one that said that the previous sheriff had been padding his budget. So I brought it up at a budget meeting. And I said, well, you said this. And he said, I never said that. So I came to the subsequent weekly business session and started to play back the audio of him saying that. And he cut the microphone off rather than let people hear the proof that he had lied to them. And he said, that's disruptive. Really? Imperial attitude?
Yep.
Nice.
Well, you know who's coming next. Goodbye to you for 60. And the answer is, we all know.
Cheryl Walker.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, my fondest recollection of Cheryl Walker was when she took over the chairmanship that first week that Dale and I had to sit with cameras in our lap.
Yes.
You know, and I just says, you know what? There's no rule that says that. So I'm clunking my little fanny here, and I'm leaving the camera where it is. She called the cops on us.
Yeah, that was.
And what happened when they arrived, Sandy?
What?
What happened when the police arrived?
Well, nothing. They, you know, I says, well, you want to know the law? You know, show me the law that says that, you know, I have to have this thing in my lap. And they said, well, we're not here to enforce the law. We're here to keep the peace. So,
but Sandy wasn't breaking any peace. She wasn't doing anything. She was just sitting there quietly. And Cheryl Walker, well, explain yourself. And Sandy, there's a rule against talking. And so she didn't talk. And that made Cheryl Walker even more angry. You're not answering me. Well, there's a rule against it. So she just sat there. The police came in, and they still laugh with us about this, Mike. I still, when I see some of these guys, they're still, hey, is your camera going to fall over and burst into flames? Yeah. She was reading from a piece of paper that didn't exist. She's made up stuff before. And the latest one, she says, she said that, to quote Dale Matthews precisely, all firefighters are pedophiles.
Yes.
What?
Stupid. Stupid.
Well, that is kind of stupid.
She's our straw man, a poster child. You tell them something. Wait, look, you're screwing up on this. Well, she brings up some other unrelated subject as if like we don't know what we're talking about, rather than address the issue that she just got nailed on.
What about the children?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, the next one I think is very important. Goodbye to you for 80. And that really is, sorry to say.
Wally Hicks.
Yes, sir. Now, who is the, I'll put it in my everyday language, who is the unindicted co-conspirator with the county commissioners on this whole thing about the Oregon Government Ethics Commission looking into it? Who was in the room every time, and the Oregon Government Ethics Commission decided not even to look at him for breaking the law?
Yeah, that's, when I filed in January against all three commissioners, I included Wally Hicks on these violations of the open public meeting law, because he takes the exact same oath that the commissioners take, and that is to uphold the federal constitution, the state constitution, and the laws thereof. He is just as responsible. And the OGEC, the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, says, oh, no, he's not part of the governing body. Well, their own definition of governing body is somebody who advises the public body, which he clearly does.
Mm-hmm.
And he's elected.
So,
he's the only elected attorney for a county in the entire state.
Yeah.
Yes, and not only that, they're using him as the excuse of why they're innocent in this particular situation.
Absolutely. Because if they say that we followed legal counsel advice, they won't get fined. So that's what they're doing. They hired an attorney to do this. But the problem is Dale and I have told Wally, look, you can't go under executive session under matters from commissioners. You have to, notice according to the ORSs why you're going into executive session. You can't go in and talk behind the public's back just because you want to time when you want to talk privately with the other commissioners. Big no. And they did it. They did it since Simon. It was in September of 2013. That's when Simon initiated this going into executive session under matters from commissioners. And KeyTech, Cheryl Walker did it the whole year that she was in office. And when Wally took over in the beginning of 2013, I says, I've had enough of this. We're saying goodbye to Steve Rich, the county council, who said, it's okay to break the law. The state's not enforcing anything. I says, I'm not going to go on and have this continue. So that's why I filed against all four of them.
Now, that wasn't 2013 when he took over. You know that.
Oh, 2015. Sorry. 2015.
Okay, so another thing is that when we knew that he had really changed sides, it looked like, I voted for the guy. I was happy to see him instead of Steve Rich, but that's a reason to be happy, as we no longer have Steve Rich. Somehow I didn't put him on the list. But one of the reasons why we thought it was a good thing is that because we talked a lot about this with him before he even decided to run. We talked about him as soon as he made it through the primary. We've talked about it with him several different times. And one of the things he's done recently is, now that the commissioners have taken a new attitude or tried this new tactic of saying, well, you think you've got us on tape, but whatever you're looking at, that's not on tape. He's backing them on that. He's saying it too. Now, wait a minute. That's lunatic. What do you mean it's not on the tape? We've seen the tape. No, it's not on the tape. Wally, it's on the tape. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's like that old.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's like that old joke. Who are you going to believe? Me or your lion eyes or your lion ears? This is the problem, is that this imperial attitude or this protection that government employees and elected officials have. They think they're above the law. And you know what? Why can't you play the rules like everybody else?
Well, we know why. Okay.
So who could be the bigger stinker than names that we've mentioned already before, or is that how this thing is laid out? Here's the last category for 100.
Happy to say goodbye to
Art Harvey.
Yeah.
I should have known, actually.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, this is the greatest goodbye possible. This is the guy who looked the other way for my recall. 646. Every single one of the petition sheets was not signed by the chief petitioner.
under penalty
They
of
had
law.
100. What?
Under penalty
Yeah.
of law.
Required by, yeah. But, he should have thrown out each and every one of them. Instead, he looked the other way. And in Cheryl's recall, they had a very high signature rejection rate, where mine was the lowest. It had a 5% rejection rate. And this guy, time and time again, he has done stuff that, in my opinion, are grossly unlawful.
And don't forget that this is the guy that after that illegal press conference, this is the guy that went down the hallway and measured with a measuring tape all the way along the hallway, past the door where a lot of us came in, all the way down to the end of the hallway, did a U-turn, came back and started measuring some more and said, look, it's over 100 feet. But not only is that a stupid way to measure anything, and he was bragging about it, but the other thing is that it's not even supposed to happen inside the building. It doesn't matter whether it's 110 feet or 99 feet. That's Art Harvey.
He gives out pamphlets to the prospective candidates saying during election time you cannot politic within these areas, and the commissioners' little back room is clearly within 100 feet of the front door of the courthouse. This is the guy who sends out those guides to political signs, telling everybody don't put your temporary political signs in right of ways. This is the guy that, when he ran for re-election, had all his signs in the city right of ways by Growers Market. Great example for people, do as I say, don't do as I do.
Well, also, he got in front of the weekly business session and he explained to the commissioners that there were certain things that he absolutely could not do that the citizens were asking for because the state told him he couldn't do it. And I thought, well, that's interesting because nobody's going to, Jim Moore is going to look into that. So I called the state to the elections people and I said, may I record you? Yes, you may. And I said, this is what he said. Now, why would he say that? Because that's not true. Now, wait a minute. Let me see if I got this right, because I always try to be sure about this kind of stuff. He's saying this. No, that's not right. And so you're saying that he's telling the commissioners and the rest of the commissioners and the rest of the public something that's entirely untrue. Well, yeah. So we got it on tape. And so here's the other thing that reinforces the guy just before this. What is it that Wally Hicks, Mike will take this one, buddy. What is it that Wally Hicks just said about the departing Art Harvey?
Well, I mean, this is really sad. This was published in the newspaper that basically before Wally thinks of doing anything, he pauses for a moment to think about what Art Harvey would do.
You mean what Jesus would do, right?
No, Art Harvey. Yes.
What lunacy.
I think you were right the first time. And we just heard this from Jack Swift, just in yesterday's newspaper. Yeah. Jack Swift is talking about what a wonderful guy. Oh, how much we're going to miss him. Jack Swift, what's the matter with you? Have you been paying no attention at all? Jack Swift to SORA, Southern Oregon Resource Alliance, no attention at all to what it was and what a blessing it is at Thanksgiving. Thank God. that
Oh.
we're now foisting this guy off on Jackson County. Shh, shh, don't tell him.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, wait till they find out that in Jackson County that this guy is incompetent. This
Well,
is my opinion.
these videos are going to follow him for the rest of his life. Now that it's on YouTube, there's no escaping from this. Okay, speaking of no escaping, so now that that part's over, let's see the final thing on the board, Mike. Oh,
Yeah.
look, it's the turkey back again, and a good start of what to do on Thanksgiving is to take these liars and miscreants and put them behind fencing. Along with, I can't see it, can't see it.
Yes, hang on a second. There you go.
No, it's at the very end. Anyway, along with the rest of the turkeys.
Yeah, there you go. That's a turkey.
Took a long time to do that thing and get the lines just right now. Well, but anyway, so that's our happy Thanksgiving show where we're counting our blessings. We're saying at least we know about this. That's one reason to have a blessing is to thank Sandy Casanelli for being a good citizen. I mean, what other former commissioners actually show up at meetings? They're not being paid to be there. She's not being paid to be there. So there's big bad Sandy Casanelli walking into the room and asking the right questions. There's Mike Jones that's saying, hey, this isn't right, and talking every night with me. There's the sacrifice just in itself to talk with me every night.
Yes.
So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, people.
A happy Thanksgiving to you. Let's count our blessings. At least we have some clue about what's going on in this county. We're happy to do that. Eat a lot of turkey and then take a long nap.